September 4th, 2018. If you are a Seinfeld fan, you probably remember the time Jerry and George pitched their TV show idea to NBC for a show about absolutely nothing. Well, this is a TV show pitch for a show about something, education, specifically career and technical education, voc ed, career prep, whatever you want to call it. Just to give you a brief background of how I developed this idea, I am Matt Fletcher and I grew up the son of a painting contractor and have worked in almost every trade involving residential construction. But I also went to college and studied advertising and used to work in advertising and marketing at Yaffe & Company Advertising, Crane Communications, and a little company called General Motors. But I got tired of marketing and quit GM to become a teacher. When I was a teacher, I began as an elementary teacher in 2003, but when administrators found out I could use tools and was willing to work outdoors, they sent me over to the high school to teach building trades, which I enjoyed very much, so I took night classes and became certified to teach building trades as well as completing my master's degree in teaching at Wayne State University. In our particular program, we actually built a real house on a real job site. My students were a diverse bunch of kids from all sorts of backgrounds, and the kids learned a lot while completing the project house from foundation to finish trim. I realized along the way that we used a lot of math and science in building trades. We used transit levels, squares, geometry, tape measures, talked about subjects like humidity, capillary action, soil compaction, radon, dew point, condensation. I really thought of the class as a practical application, hands-on science class. One day I told my administrators that this class would make a great educational TV show for the local cable access channel. I told administrators we could have the TV production students from the high school film our class and put it on the local access channel so that the community could see the cool stuff that the CTE students were doing. But my administrators seemed more focused on pointing out a lot of the things that could go wrong, the kids being under 18 years old, not quite mature enough to do something like this, getting permission from parents for their kids to be on TV, and things like that. So, being an advertising guy and thinking this was a great idea, I actually contacted the local PBS station, Channel 56, and pitched the idea to them in an email. And they actually called me in for a meeting and seemed very excited about the idea. But they wanted to make it more like one of those silly reality shows that was popular back in 2006 when all this happened. But Channel 56 had me write what's called a TV show program proposal, and I emailed it to them, and I never heard back from them. And unfortunately, my school district cut the building trades program that I taught and laid several of us off. So while teaching building trades, I was doing home inspections on the side in the summer for an inspection company, so I used my marketing skills and started my own inspection business, and that worked out very well for me. And although I loved it, teaching, I actually never looked for another teaching job after that. Just focused on my business of inspecting buildings and writing reports and creating graphics like that. We also branched out into commercial inspections. Here we're on top of a big building in Detroit. But I remained active in the local career and technical education scene through MITES, the Michigan Industrial Technology Education Society. So I was a judge at several conventions where they build a deer blind. The kids build a deer blind, a fishing shanty, or something similar to that from a set of blueprints that they're given. So basically, there's several teams from all over the state, and the kids are judged on their workmanship, teamwork, safety, and other categories. Local TV stations showed up and did news stories on mites. The kids won prizes for their skills, and they got to be on TV, and it was a very positive experience for everyone involved. And I was very impressed with mites. The shed building contest isn't the only event that MITES has at its yearly convention. There are projects and prizes displayed from all over the state, which include categories like furniture making, electrical projects, machine shop, architectural drawing, pattern and mold making, boat building, mechanical drawing and welding. The kids and their very dedicated teachers were able to pull off some amazing projects. In fact, as I walked around looking at all the projects, I thought, wow, look at all this great stuff. I can't believe how complex some of these projects are and how great they turned out. All this great stuff is going on in education. Unless you're the parent of one of these students involved, no one knows about it. So the wheels started turning in my head again, and I told Joe Churches and some of the other CTE teachers there that CTE really should be a weekly TV show, not just a news story a couple of times a year. And Joe and the other teachers there seemed very interested in the idea and seemed to think that it could help CTE in Michigan. Maybe bring in some funding through a sponsor or something like that if we could get on TV. So because I own an inspection business, I was taking some construction classes at Macomb Community College. And one of my professors was Joe Vaglica. So Joe teaches construction classes at Macomb and construction management classes at Wayne State University. Joe also owns a civil engineering business. So I have an inspection business and Joe is a civil engineer, so we started doing some business together and we became friends. So again, I brought up my TV show idea to Joe. I says, Joe, fate has brought us together. Wayne State and or Macomb Community College should buy an old house and have your construction students fix it up. You teach the classroom portion, I'll run the job site, and we'll fix up the house, put it on TV to promote construction programs through MCC and through Wayne State and through MITES. Joe said this was an interesting idea and to write up a plan, and after he completes his PhD at Wayne State, we'll talk about it some more. So here's the basic plan outline that I came up with. I see this more as a CTE or vocational education TV program, not a four-year program, four-year college. So therefore, Macomb Community College, for instance, produces a weekly TV show on the local PBS station, which could be syndicated around the state like other PBS programs, like Michigan Out of Doors. So the TV show could feature one central project per year. For instance, students renovate a house or commercial building. So the plumbing students from Macomb and the instructors can do the plumbing. The electrical students and instructors from Macomb can do the electrical. The welding students do the welding. The design students do the designing. Students would progress along each week featuring this one central project. And the viewers would get to know the students and their instructors and watch their learning progress as the project progresses. Aside from having this one central project featured every week, the Macomb College show could visit high schools around the state to show some of the interesting CTE and MITES type projects the teachers and the students are doing. All of this would focus on what obstacles the kids had to overcome and what was being learned in the process of the project. The show could also visit them on their co-op or apprenticeship jobs to see how they are doing. STEM. I think it would be interesting if the show visited elementary schools to show some of the STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, mathematics experiments that the kids were doing at that level, and perhaps demonstrate how CTE ties into STEM and other subjects. So every week the show could be at a different school showing different and interesting projects that the kids and the teachers are doing. The teachers and their kids would be presented in a positive and interesting way. Remember, PBS is supposed to be educational television after all. So financial aid. Also, some of the weekly shows could talk about different subjects like how to apply for financial aid, fill out a college application, how to get into Macomb, getting into an apprenticeship program, work study programs, or even transfer into a four-year college. So why would Macomb want to produce such a TV show? Well, here's a few reasons. Colleges already advertise. I saw this billboard alongside the road, but it would be much better to have a weekly TV show promoting its programs, professors, and students, along with high school students and teachers, all doing positive things in the community and completing interesting projects and learning along the way. I think this program would become a major part of the college's marketing strategy. 2. Macomb College could effectively compete with other colleges, trade schools, for-profit colleges, and online schools which grow and expand every year. Enrollment. I think enrollment would almost certainly increase at Macomb because it would increase the awareness of the college and its programs. Cost effectiveness. The college already has a TV production program. Advanced students and their instructors could do the camera work and the lighting and the editing. Students could get co-op or independent credit for doing this. So they would produce, Macomb would produce the show. This would be a Macomb production through its students and its instructors. That would also promote the TV production program at Macomb, aside from the construction. So who pays for this? Well, back in 2006, when I first spoke to PBS about my show idea, I mentioned Quicken Loans as a likely sponsor because you need a sponsor for a TV show on PBS. So I knew a couple of people that worked at Quicken Loans, and I knew that Dan Gilbert was already fixing up buildings in downtown Detroit, so he had an interest in this stuff. The PBS people actually laughed and said, well, if you can get a sponsor like Quicken Loans with deep pockets, you can get a show on PBS. It's just that simple. I think getting a major sponsor for the show would be very, very easy if Macomb College got behind it. I know from my days of working at General Motors that if a career and technical education TV show is produced featuring young people using tools and trucks and doing positive things in the community, Chevrolet truck would jump at the chance to sponsor it. So would tool companies like DeWalt and Milwaukee. Quicken Loans may even want to sponsor the show, and they actually do now sponsor a show on the Learning Channel, I think, called Rehab Addict. I think Macomb would get so many sponsors that it wouldn't cost the college anything to actually produce the show. The sponsors would foot the bill, and Macomb would get free advertising for its vocational programs on a weekly television show instead of a lifeless billboard like this one I saw on Gratiot Avenue. If you like this idea, please share it with other CTE teachers and give me your thoughts. I am Matt Fletcher. Thank you.